Welcome to another episode of Primo Talks. When it comes to life, you got to have those people around you who have those gifts and talents like you have in order for you to implement those things, so you know that the things that you're doing is moving you towards those goals, those dreams, those realities that you saw in your life. This is not the time for you to take a step back. It's a time for you to be teleported. This is a place where you can actually get the information that you need that you can implement today. Let's talk. Welcome back to another Primo Talk. Today's episode, we're going to get right into it. We're going to jump in there. I'm going to give you some meat and potatoes, information that you need. We're going to have a financial conversation. Now, I'm going to give you a disclaimer. I'm going to give it to you from my point of view, which may not be your point of view. But the reality is we're going to get meat and potatoes that we can all eat, collect some truths, make decisions off of it. If you haven't seen Chairman Powell's comments today, let's take an opportunity to look back at what he said.
That's our ultimate goal. We, of course, like all central banks do, look very, very carefully at core inflation because it's a much better predictor, and it's a much better predictor of where inflation is going, and it's also more relevant to our tools. As I mentioned, the parts that don't go into core are mostly outside the scope of our tools, so we look at that. The SEP is of one piece. It reflects all of the economic readings. It also reflects the 75 basis point increase. This is important. So people had that in hand when their SEPs were submitted. So in other words, it's not in addition to what's in the SEP. The SEP, everyone's SEP reflects their thinking about this rate increase and what's going forward. The role that we can play is around demand, right? And we'll be able to see the areas that we can affect are those that are associated with excess demand. And we'll be able to see our effect on, for example, job openings in real time. So that would tell us about wages. Wages are not principally responsible for the inflation that we're seeing, but going forward, they would be very important, particularly in the service sector. There's always a risk of going too far or going not far enough. And it's going to be a very difficult judgment to make, or maybe not. Maybe it'll be really clear. But we're quite mindful of the dangers. But I will say the worst mistake we could make would be to fail, which it's not an option. We have to restore price stability. We really do. It's the bedrock of the economy. If you don't have price stability, the economy is really not going to work the way it's supposed to. It won't work for people. Their wages will be being eaten up. So we want to get the job done. This inflation happened relatively recently. We don't think that it's affecting expectations in any kind of fundamental way. We don't think that we're seeing a wage price spiral. We think that the public generally sees us as very likely to be successful in getting inflation down to 2%, and that's critical. It's absolutely key to the whole thing that we sustain that confidence. So that's how we're thinking about it.
Welcome back. Now, it's going to be so fun as we go through this. Now that you heard what Federal Powell said, the chairman, let's just take it, put it in the bag, throw the bag out. It was a bag of trash. What General Powell is attempting to do, well, actually Fed Chairman Powell, I call him General, right now he's the general of the Feds. What he's attempting to do is this: stop a panic. There are contributing factors that no one can stop. We control our determining factors. Let's talk about some contributing factors to lay the foundation before we jump into the topic. One is, if you have never liked, subscribed, or followed the CFS Studios channel, I'll ask that you do it now. That way you can get the latest and most updated content that we put out. Also, if you've never had a chance to even look and see our store, don't forget to support our channel by buying our merch. Cleared over chaos is what I'm wearing today because we're in a recession and you need clarity over the chaos. Prices are rising, gas prices, food prices. You're looking at everything that's going on and saying, this is chaos. Time to rock your clarity. Here's the thing. Do you know that the federal chairman cannot control three things? These are called contributing factors to really cement contributing factor. Contributing factor number one. Can the Fed stop an avalanche? Contributing factor number two. Can the Fed stop a dog from chasing and biting a man? Get out of it. Contributing factor number three. Can the Fed stop a natural forest fire in California. They can't do any of those things. But what they can attempt to do is curb the panic. And right now, they were very concerned, so they were very careful, because on Monday, Bitcoin crashed. If you bought Bitcoin between 2019 and the 2021, right before the June came, Bitcoin dropped from the 30s down to the 20s, and then from the 20s all the way down to $9,000. Bounced back and closed the end of the day back around 23. But remember, Bitcoin's supposed to be a safe investment like gold. Well, if you paid $30,000 at the peak up to $43,000, really at the peak, at the height of Bitcoin drive and Bitcoin bull market, you have some chaos in your life and you really need some clarity. So stay focused. Listen to what we have to say. Let's go right into it. What is a market crash and a recession? A recession is a period of temporary economic decline during which trade and industry activities are reduced, generally identified by a fall in GDP in 2 successive quarters. That's right, 2 quarters of lower GDP, and we're in a recession. But there needs to be one more ingredient, and that is a market crash. So what is a stock market crash? A stock market crash is a sudden dramatic decline of stock prices across a major cross-section of stock markets, resulting in a significant loss of paper wealth. Crashes are driven by, that's right, General Powell's conversations that you heard before is he's trying to stop panic selling. That's what's happening. You put these things together, including inflation, and all this pumping up of the money. Even today, they're talking about printing more money. In the last 24 months, from the COVID pandemic that took place and we had we had a market crash that took place, from COVID printing money to where we are today, they have printed more money, and they still printing money. Talking about another billion and 30 billion and 60 billion. You can't keep printing this money because that's caused inflation. Now, how do you handle all of this dramatic information? We call it chaos. You need clarity. What is clarity? When you are ignorant. Now, let me tell you something. When somebody says the word ignorant, don't think somebody called you stupid. All they're saying is the absence of truth. That's it. You got to look for one truth. That is the definition of ignorance, the absence of truth. So you got to say, I need truth. No problem. I'm here to give you clarity today, here on the Primo Talk Show. And this is how you get it. Next thing you're going to get is knowledge. That is the collection of truths. That's right. There is a collection of things going on, because part of panic selling also come with underlying economic factors. What is that? Inflation, the Ukraine war. Again, the United States has not declared by an act of Congress to be in a war, but they're playing both sides of the war. They're actually funding and printing money from U.S. taxpayers that still have not found a way to pay for that bill yet. On top of all the COVID money, that's some economic underlying factors. And then two. Here's the second factor. One of the things outside of the inflation of keep printing money, which reducing money, is the second factor. And that second factor is how you're going to be responding. Are we going to keep spending, or are we going to clam up? As it seems right now, we're going to have 2 successive quarters of low GDP, which means we're not spending as much money as they keep saying. You turn on CNBC, you turn on Bloomberg, they say, consumers are spending, way up in sales. The reality is, no, that's not the case. We may see certain areas where people are spending a little bit more, but remember, public traded companies don't use cash accounting. They use accrued accounting. Now, what do you mean by that? That means they're going to be restating this quarter before the end of their fiscal year. That's called restatements. You're now seeing more and more public traded companies coming out and restating their forecast for the rest of the year. How come that's important? Because it meant that when they made previous statements of growth so that it was a bump up in their stock price, it wasn't actually true. They omitted certain things. One of the cool things about doing accurate accounting is that you get to state certain things in the future and improve your guidance. The problem is this guidance was based on fake pumping up. And when you got fake pumping up, you're going to get fake answers. And those fake answers make consumers like you and me, or retail investors, or professional, or even institutions got cracked this week. There have been a lot of companies going out and buying Bitcoin. What did they find out? They realized off the top, they started selling and Bitcoin dropped to 9,000. That's not because all the retailers and their wallets was actually selling big. These were large institutions saying, get out of the trade. They were flying out like trying to fight. That's like you trying to take the 12, what they like to call it, the red line, where it's midnight, you're taking it. They started the night before saying, get out of the trade, sell it as much as you can and convert that money back out. Bitcoin went into a tailspin. We had a little bit of bounce back. It dropped down to 9. Now I'm going to tell you, because I don't mind saying it. For all you Bitcoin people who purchase a Bitcoin or purchase Ethereum, you got some chaos going on right now in your personal life, and I'm going to let you know that chaos is rightfully deserved because you were ignorant of some truths. But now since Monday, you now have one truth, and the truth is that Primo Talk said we're in a recession. Now go grab a collection of truth. How come? Because knowledge is not one truth, because there's no such thing as a one-sided pancake, one-sided sheet on a bed. There's no such thing as a one-sided windshield. It's got two sides. So it's a perspective issue. And the way that you can make good decisions is that you got to be able to have informed decision, a collection of truths and clarity. If not, you rocking with chaos. And that's what most people do. They got a one-sided perspective. It's chaos. They make an informed decision and only have one aspect. And knowledge is a collection of truths that provide clarity. Now, here's the other thing. What is understanding? The assimilation of truths. You keep hearing me talk about ignorance, understanding, knowledge and understanding. Ignorance, knowledge and understanding. How come? Because you need to know what it is to deal with truths in your life so you can make the right decision from this recession and you don't start panic selling. That's right. A lot of people are going to go out here and there's a fire sale going on. But the question is, do you really understand the blessings of a recession? This is the perfect time for a lot of people who haven't gotten to the market. And I don't mean in the market as far as going out and buying stocks. I'm talking about who haven't started a business yet. See, because if you haven't started a business yet, all the big buildings, everywhere I go in every town and every time we drive through, we go some sightseeing, we see small houses, big banks. Small houses, big banks. Here's another thing that you see that you guys got to understand. Financial advisors, the average that a financial advisor makes is not from trading their own money. I'm going to say it again. It's not from them trading their own money. It's them from getting a fee off your money. That's right. That means they make money. If you look at your statement, financial advisors make money because you defer money, so they get your money and they live off your money, and you don't live off your money, you defer your money. That's how a financial advisor makes their living. Here is something that you always need to remember because we talk about chaos and you need clarity. The 89% of all financial advisors are broke. And that's who you take advice from. Again, I'm going to say it. 89% of all financial advisors are broke. And you take advice. They don't trade their own money for income in a 12-month basis. They get paid from your income. So if they're telling you, hang on for the long haul, hang on, let me just tell you, you're going to be the one that suffers while they get a paycheck because you don't live off your money. Period. They're protecting their job because they're broke. I'm not saying that to be mean, but you need some clarity from the chaos that's about to happen because you need to realize that panic selling is an attack at your wealth. And you say, well, I'm going to call my financial advisor. You can't call a broke man and ask for advice. I keep trying to tell people that. What is you going to do? You might as well go talk to a homeless person underneath a bridge and ask them this one question. How I make $1 million? He's going to look at you like, how do I get access to it too? Both of y'all in the unknown. How come? Because there's not a collection of truth there. You need to understand that the inflation if you right now operating in your personal life and you think sticking money in the bank, maybe you haven't remembered this. Inflation just eating away at your money.